Abdikadir, and here are the top stories.
I still see elements of too much foreign travel, and in a sense what that means is that we are encroaching on those resources that we should be using for development.
Billions wasted on foreign trips. Controller of budget demands answers on how government officials blew 25 billion Kenya shillings abroad. Candidates eyeing November by-elections have until the 9th of October to submit nomination papers to the IEBC.
Tuliongea na yeye Friday. Saturday, Sunday sikumpigia simu. Na alikuwa hatuna furaha, hakuwa na shida na huko.
Family of fallen Kenyan officer Kennedy Mutuku, killed in Haiti, shares heartbreaking final conversation with him. Patients welcome back as Health Ministry and St. Mary's Mumias Hospital Management strike a deal to reopen the facility. Yolanzale is our sign language interpreter. The controller of budget, Margaret Nyakango, has raised a red flag over what she terms as excessive executive travel, with the national government blowing up 25 billion Kenya shillings in local and foreign travel in the last financial year. The expenses come barely a year after President William Ruto, at the height of the Gen Z Thunderbolt, promised to institute austerity measures, including a 50% travel budget cuts to government expenditure in order to reduce wastage. Emmanuel Toh has that report.
It has been 2 years since President William Ruto first pledged to cut government travel spending by 11 billion shillings to free up more money for development.
Tunapunguza pesa ya travel ya all government departments and all sectors. Tutapunguza by 50%.
The president would a year later announce further stringent measures to curb unnecessary travel to allow more funds to flow into the budgetary deficit after the Finance Bill 2024 was shot down. However, the report by the Control of Budget on the expenditure by the national government has shown little to no reduction of the expenditure. The Control of Budget revealing that the national government spent 25.46 billion shillings on travel alone between the 1st of July 2024 to 30th June 2025.
I still see elements of too much foreign travel, and in a sense what that means is that we are encroaching on those resources that we should be using for development.
Nyakango saying the excessive travel was derailing development.
So if you go through the report as of the end of June 2025, you will see that our overall development expenditure reduced compared to financial year 23-24. The disbursements were made very well, but when you look at the deliverables, they were not commensurate to the funds that had been disbursed.
State House, which made an extra requisition of 5 billion shillings under Article 223, which allows for additional funding in extraordinary circumstances, splashing the millions on domestic travel, hospitality, supplies and services, fuel expenses, and maintenance of motor vehicles.
These funds have to come from somewhere. So either another vote must be reduced for us to finance the Article 223, or we must borrow. And therefore, by extension, it means that our indebtedness, either in terms of domestic borrowing or foreign borrowing, is impacted.
Most of the preferred travel destinations for top government officials includes Dubai, UAE, London, United Kingdom, South Africa, and the US. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen has dismissed reports of an incursion into Mandera County by Jubaland Regional Administration in Somalia forces. Murkomen says claims that foreign troops have invaded Kenyan territory are misleading, insisting those cited in the county are Somali nationals fleeing conflict across the border. But as Mary Mwoke details in the following report, the county senator Ali Roba and local leaders are warning of a grave violation of the country's sovereignty and are demanding an urgent action.
In Mandera, the tension is palpable. A border town gripped by fear, suspicion, and the sound of conflict too close for comfort. While the government maintains there are no foreign troops inside Kenya, residents tell a different story. Schools closed, businesses shut, and families uprooted, displaced by fear of stray bullets, rocket fire, and unexploded ordnance from Somalia's conflict spilling across the frontier. Reports indicate that Jubaland forces first crossed into Mandera in mid-August, setting up camp at Border 1 Primary School, forcing pupils out just weeks to national exams. Mandera Senator and UDM party leader Captain Ali Roba is among leaders who have castigated the government over its continued inaction with regard to the incursion.
Risking Kenyan lives and property is shameful, reckless, and betrayal of our sovereignty. Foreign conflicts must be fought on foreign soil, not on the streets of Mandera.
Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei has demanded that Defense Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya respond to growing calls for action by Kenyans and leaders alike.
I think when a territory of a nation is violated, it attracts serious repercussions and reprisals against the country or the offending forces.
Former Chief Justice David Maraga terms it a grave constitutional and security violation. The former CJ says Kenya's sovereignty and territorial integrity are inviolable and has asked President William Ruto to ensure prompt withdrawal of the foreign troops. The National Assembly's Defense Committee chairman has cautioned against politicizing the issue. However, Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen insists the situation is under control.
And I do not want this committee to politicize extremely important and delicate security issues of what could be happening in Mandera. We will await to hear from the Ministry of Defense.
Mara nyingi vita malumbano ikizidi upande wa Somalia, utaona watu wanatorokea upande wa Kenya. Na hiyo kutorokea kwao hapa si kwa mwaliko wa Kenya, ni kwa sababu wanatafuta usalama.
There are questions on why Kenya Defense Forces remain stationed in Somalia under ATMIS to fight Al-Shabaab, yet foreign troops allegedly roam freely in Mandera. Mary Mwoke, Citizen TV.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has set the ball rolling for the November 27th by-elections, saying campaigns will run between the 8th of October and the 24th of November. The body's chairperson, Erastus Edung Ethekon, has directed all the aspirants to adhere to the Elections Code of Conduct with the processing of candidates set for September. And as Stephen Leto tells us in the following report, the by-elections will likely be a litmus test for the new IEBC team and the political formations that are taking shape ahead of the 2027 general election.
As the clock ticks towards the November 27th by-elections, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has begun the preparations for a busy day of by-elections in November. IEBC Chair Erastus Ethekon says the submissions of nomination papers from independent and political parties candidates will be on Wednesday 8th October and Thursday 9th October, and returning officers will be receiving their certificates at designated points. The presentation of nomination papers paves way for a rigorous campaign period that IEBC says begins immediately on the 8th of October and ends on November 24th, 48 hours before the November 27th by-election date. Only Baringo County will conduct a senatorial by-election, with aspirants here required to submit a duly filled nomination form, list of names of supporters, ID numbers of 2,000 registered voters in the county, as well as copies of the identity cards of the voters. 5 constituencies will take part in the November poll. They are Banissa, Ugunja, Kasipul, Malava and Magarini, with aspirants equally required to present a duly filled nomination form, a list of names of supporters and their signatures, national ID numbers of 1,000 registered voters in the constituency, and copies of the identity cards of the voters. Independent candidates are on 27th of this month required to submit name and symbol of their choice to the IEBC at the anniversary towers. The independent candidates are expected to obtain and submit to the IEBC a clearance certificate from the Registrar of Political Parties certifying that they have not been a member of any political party for at least 3 months prior to the date of the by-election. Already, political parties have begun coalition building in the upcoming by-elections, with ODM and UDA said to be headed for joint candidates in some areas in a bid to lock out the opposition parties from clinching the seats. The United Opposition leaders held a day-long meeting in Nairobi today to deliberate on consensus building for the by-elections. Rigathi Gachagwa's DCP party and Justine Muturi's Democratic Party have locked horns for the Mbeere North seat. The meeting sought to end the impasse and have one party fly the opposition ticket to face off with President William Ruto's UDA party. The Malava constituency ticket was also on the table, with DCP aiming to get a foothold in the western region, a move that was protested by Eugene Wamalwa's DAPK. Stephen Letos, Citizen TV.
The family of Corporal Kennedy Mutuku Nzuve, a Kenyan police officer who died in a road accident in Haiti, is asking the government to provide support in transporting the body back home and giving him a dignified send-off. Mutuku's mother, Sarah Ndunge, who is mourning her only child, says the death has left the family devastated as they looked forward to seeing him in November when he was set to return back home on leave. Here is Gatete Njoroge.
A loud silence ushers us to the home of Sarah Ndunge. For 2 days, she has been in deep thoughts, trying to figure her life after losing her only child, Corporal Kennedy Mutuku Nzuve. She scrolls through her phone to check for any information in connection to the unfortunate turn of events.
Tuliongea na yeye Friday. Sunday sikumpigia simu. Na alikuwa hatuna furaha, hakuwa na shida na huko. Alikuwa akiongea, alikuwa anasema hata huko amependa sana.
Mutuku, a gallant police officer, was among the officers under the multinational security support in Haiti before his death in a road accident on Sunday. The accident, which happened during a recovery operation involving 2 Max Pro vehicles, also claimed the lives of 2 civilians and left 8 police officers injured.
Kuna watoto wawili. First born ni msichana. Na candidate hii mwaka. Kijana ako grade 8.
Ndunge says the death has shaken the family to core as they were preparing to see him again in November when he was supposed to return for his annual leave. The 41-year-old was not just a favorite at home, but also in the village where he supported community projects.
Inatuumiza sana. Saidi. Juu saa hizi hatujui tuko wapi. Tunangoja serikali tuamulie tutaanzia wapi na tutaelekea wapi.
Tunaweza hitaji ni support. Full support ikiwezekana. Tupate kuona mtoto wetu tumemsindikiza vizuri na kwa heshima yake. Hivyo ndo tunaweza omba tu kwa serikali kama inawezekana.
Mutuku served in the Rapid Deployment Unit before the Haiti mission, joined the police service in 2005, and has previously served in bandit-prone areas. His death brings to 2 the number of Kenyan police officers who have died in Haiti. Constable Samuel Tompoi was killed in February during a confrontation with a gang. Another Kenyan officer, Benedict Kabiru, is still missing 6 months after he disappeared when gangs ambushed security officers on patrol. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV.
Nakuru County Governor Susan Kihika found herself in a tight spot when she was grilled by the Senate Public Accounts Committee over alleged financial misappropriation and stalled county projects. Among them, a 1 million shillings toilet that has remained incomplete for 3 years. The committee is calling on the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate the county over 22 million shillings paid to various law firms without supporting paperwork, as Willie Lusige tells us in the following report.
Confused. Again, I'm sorry.
Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika was on the spot, with the Senate committee putting her to task over alleged misuse of billions of shillings, including stall projects worth 7.8 billion. The projects had been flagged by the Auditor General, who says the county failed to provide documentation or progress reports.
We expected them to have a committee that goes round, know how much was allocated for this project and what is delaying, which is not in any of their documents.
The county could not explain why a number of projects, including a stalled market toilet worth just 1 million shillings, have dragged on for 3 years.
How does a 1 million public toilet? Sorry?
I don't want to answer in a way that I could mislead the House, because I'm not sure about this specific one, because it could have even been that there was another toilet nearby.
Other stalled projects include ECD toilets, with the committee questioning how the pupils were surviving under the circumstances.
And does it mean the ECDs, they're not having a toilet? Where are they going to? Are they using bushes?
I feel I've been specific enough in, for example, in saying, we vired. However, we shall do an addendum where we'll be able to give you what happened exactly when they vired. Where did that money go, or did it go to another project, or you know, that sort of stuff.
Governor also struggled to explain why the county bypassed its own attorney and hired private law firms without approval.
Despite the county having recruited its own county attorney, the private firms were engaged to represent the county in court cases without approval by the County Executive Committee. County Executive made payments of 22.6 million in respect to legal fees to 6 law firms. Further documentation on how the law firms were identified were not provided for audit.
Kihika failed to justify payments of over 22 million shillings to private lawyers without proof of service.
Do we have the county attorney in the room?
He should have been here, but he had...
Has he absconded duty?
The Senate committee is now calling on the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to step in and investigate how payments were made to private legal firms without documentation, and to ensure those behind the irregularities are held accountable. Willie Lusige, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
It's a reprieve for patients in Mumias, the county of Kakamega, after the Ministry of Health and St. Mary's Mission Hospital Management managed to broker a deal over the payment of pending bills owed to the facility. A meeting between the two parties also revealed that the hospital received only a total of 98 million shillings for the last 9 months from the Social Health Authority, and was pushing for a pending bill of more than 140 million shillings owed to it by the defunct National Hospital Insurance Fund, NHIF. The revelation puts to an end the recent political upheaval in which some local politicians blamed the Ministry of Health for the facility's troubles. Brenda Wanga with the details of that report.
Nearly 3 weeks after the iconic St. Mary's Hospital in Mumias, Kakamega County, announced the cessation of operations due to severe cash flow problems, the facility could now reopen its doors to patients. This after brokering a deal with the Ministry of Health for payment of millions of shillings owed to the ministry by now defunct NHIF.
So, St. Mary Hospital, from where we sit, has not been closed by SHA, has not been closed by the regulator, Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council. Their license is valid. Has not been closed by the digital health agency that controls the system. So from where we sit, St. Mary Hospital has all the valid licenses.
Over the weekend, the Catholic Church, which runs the hospital, had disputed claims by Prime Cabinet Secretary that the government had disbursed nearly 100 million shillings through SHA for its operations. Today, CS Duale maintained that the government's position remained as stated, a position confirmed by the hospital's administration.
Inception December, SHA started in October. Since December to August this year, St. Mary's Hospital has received reimbursement from SHA totaling 98 million Kenya shillings. and the man of the clock, the bishop, is behind me. And I'm a very true and believing Muslim. So we don't lie, me and him.
These have been dispersed across, spread over the months that we have had. We have, believe, a pending payment of 35 million claims, 5 million that we expected from SHA, and that's what we believe that will help us to be able to clear the arrears of the workers.
The hospital, however, says it is still owed arrears from the now defunct NHIF to the tune of 140 million shillings. The ministry has maintained that arrears over 10 million shillings from any institution will be paid on one condition.
If you want me to pay you, you must be ready to verification of those pending bills. So I'm calling upon both faith-based, government, and most of them our county governments, including my own referral hospitals, like Kenyatta Hospital, our own referral hospitals, Kenyatta Hospital, MTRH, Jaramogi, Oginga, Kenyatta University, Mathare, and faith-based and private. We're telling you, let us come to the table, and I'm going to, working with the PS, we will form a team to verify. Minus verification, we are not going to pay money. We must protect public resources.
Elsewhere, members of the National Assembly's Health Committee have embarked on a countrywide tour of health facilities to determine the real situation with the operations of SHA.
As mentioned, one is the delayed payment to the facilities. And you know, if the facility do not receive money at the right time, that will affect their running in terms of buying the drugs, in terms of paying the staffs. So that has been a challenge.
Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
Fear has gripped Kitale town in Trans Nzoia County as gangs of underage youth continue to rain terror. The young youth, armed with crude weapons, have maimed many and forced most business operators to close shop early over fear of attacks. Authorities say they have arrested 174 suspects in a crackdown. Marian Nyambura has that report.
In Tuwani village, the outskirts of Kitale, the atmosphere here is tense. Residents continue with their daily routines, but their daily working hours are now shorter. They close shop before dusk for fear of attacks by gangs that have taken over the town.
Wanakupiga panga, wanapiga watu. Sasa unahofia kukaa town, ukichelewa town, unahofia sasa unaenda nyumbani mapema.
Hii vijana ni group ambayo wanajiita Bogi Mawe na wengine Ansi na Transformer. Ambayo hii vijana wakifanya uhalifu wanatorokea nchi za jirani kama Uganda.
In the last 1 month, scores of people have been injured and valuables of a known amount stolen by the criminals.
Wakati tumekaa tu tukaona vijana wametuvamia ndani ya video na mapanga. Wakazima stima. Sasa hapa ilikuwa kila mtu mbie muokoe.
Nilikuwa nimefika hapa nikijua hapa niko nyumbani kujua nini inaendelea. Bahati mbaya hivyo nilivamiwa na vijana hapa hivi, wakanipiga mapanga kwenye mgongo huku hivi, wakaniumiza.
Police say they have arrested over 170 suspects, even as residents call for enhanced patrols to contain the gang.
Tumeweza kunasa vijana 64 ambao tunaamini kwamba wamehusika na mambo ya uhalifu.
Marian Nyambura, Citizen TV.
Just to be Kenya's 5th president, an ambition that did not succeed. He is on the bench tonight and still has similar ambitions ahead of the election in 2027. We'll talk more about the current state of affairs and why he views himself a cut from a different political cloth. Ruben, thank you for making time.
I'm glad to be here.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
We last met sometime before the election in 2000.
I know. And I'm still vying and I'm still singing. I want to be your next singing president.
Okay.
And maybe people are used to my songs, you know, but I'm singing my way into State House by reminding people, niko njaa hata siwezi karanga, ohe hae shagala bagala, niko tayari kulipa gharama Sitasimama maovu yakitawala. Sitasimama maovu yakitawala.
And that is Reuben Kigame. He is a scholar, a Christian teacher at best, the musician, the journalist, and the social activist. He wants to be the president in 2022, 2027. We'll talk all about that and why he is the lone wolf in that campaign. All that is at the bench, on the bench, after the break on the broadcast. Stay tuned. You're watching JKL, and thanks for staying with us. The Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, says 11 suspects have been arrested in connection to the Kwabinzaro massacre that has seen a total of 34 bodies exhumed from shallow graves. While inspecting the grave sites in Kilifi County, Kanja said the total of 102 human remains, including skulls, have been recovered. 4 out of the 11 suspects in police custody have been marked as main suspects, with the Inspector General announcing that the DCI is intensifying investigations to establish the cause and motive of the deaths. Preliminary investigations indicate that the majority of the victims of the Kwabinzaro massacre are suspected to be non-locals.
The investigators are actually on top of that. And very soon we're actually going to get to know what really happened. But we are aware that many of the people who have been brought here were procured from elsewhere. They are not locals. They are from other places. Brought here, radicalized, and then at the end of the day, they lost their lives that way.
President William Ruto has set up a technical committee to coordinate the collaboration with private sector in support of sports. The team will include representatives from the government, Football Kenya Federation, and other partners. The president said the committee will handle sponsorships, league branding, and sports advertising to fully harness talent and grow the sector. He stressed the importance of a clear value proposition for the private sector investment. At State House, Nairobi, the head of state also received credentials of 9 envoys starting their assignments in Kenya, with the diplomats pledging to strengthen bilateral ties with Nairobi. Additionally, he witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between Kenya and the state of Nebraska, represented by Kenya's Diaspora Affairs Principal Secretary Rosaline Njogu and Nebraska's Secretary of State Robert Evnen.
We have seen the commitment of the private sector. Even when there is so much confusion, you still find the space to put in your money. Now we don't want you to put in your money in a space that you are not too sure. We want to agree together and fashion this space around sports together, because it is an important space. We are a sporting nation. We have enormous talent.
We have sports news coming up, but still on the bench is Reuben Kigame, who we talked on earlier about his presidential ambition, but a man who transcends across different fields, including that of music, academia, and also politics. And we are going on the break with, again, yet another teaser of the other side of the talent that he possesses.
Ufisadi, ubinafsi, ukabila, kuuza sura, hawataki kuuza sera. Undugu ni kufana, sitasimama maovu yakitawala. Sitasimama maovu yakitawala.
You know, Reuben, my producer was singing alongside you.
I know. A lot of Kenyans sing alongside. Yeah. And this is a great song by Giuliani.
In many aspects, revolutionary, is it?
Yeah, it is. But it really depicts where we are as a people. And he speaks for the people. I did my research on Giuliani and other musicians who speak truth to power and, you know, talk about social justice. Kenya needs such a song now from the days of Mashifta and, you know, system ya Majambazi, Sauti Sol, Tujiangalie, Eric Wainaina singing, you know, Nchi ya Kitu Kidogo, and my own songs like I Have a Dream. We are singing truth to power, but the question is, who is listening? Maybe time has come to move beyond singing and go and run for office.
Thank you, Ruben. I've also managed to look through your gospel songs, and quite gripping to listen.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Absolutely.
And what a President Ruben Kagame will look like.
You want a singing president? You got one.
So that will be coming up on the bench after the break, and that is after the sports news here on JKL. Stay tuned. Isuzu East Africa invests nearly 7 billion Kenya shillings. Thanks for staying with us. Time for business. Isuzu East Africa has announced plans to scale up its production by localizing assembly of one of its models in Kenya. The automaker says it has invested 7 billion shillings over the last 3 years to strengthen local manufacturing. The announcement comes after the TICAD 9 summit in Japan, where pledges were made to support Kenya's automotive policy. Isuzu plans to grow exports across Africa, taking advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area. CEO Rita Kavashe said the company is also considering the introduction of electric vehicles. Industry Principal Secretary Juma Mohuana encouraged the firm to increase the use of local content.
Gentlemen, as you notice, there's champagne on your table. Please fill up your glass.
As far as investment is concerned, from the year 2022, we have invested close to 7 billion shillings in manufacturing upgrade, strengthening our after-sales support system. We have right here 25 kilometers out of Nairobi on your way to Machakos at Lukenya. We are putting up a 3.1 billion parts distribution center that will not only serve East Africa, will serve Central Africa, because Isuzu East Africa is one of the support infrastructure accredited by Isuzu Motors Limited.
Within our policies, we've provided for companies sourcing local content, buying parts from Kenyan makers and adding them to the vehicles. And through our policy, we have provided tax incentives. The more you buy locally, the less tax you pay. And so for government, we are very keen on supporting Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. And that means that part of the vehicle is actually made here, so that we don't have a whole vehicle coming in a carton box and then we just assemble it here. So we have.
The International Fund for Agricultural Development has concluded a 2-year program to expand affordable remittance services and improve financial literacy in rural families in Kenya. Implemented in partnership with Credit Bank PLC and other stakeholders, the initiative trained over 100,000 people on budgeting, saving and investing, with women making up 44% of the participants. IFAD says the project highlights the potential of SACCOs to improve financial access at the grassroots level.
We had certain deliverables and outcomes, and we are more or less like 90% there. So how about taking a pause and asking what else can we layer into this whole system? Apart from remittances, can we also look at climate smart agriculture? You know, can we look at bringing in our other products to women and see how we can tie this seamlessly to the remittances? Can we look at extending beyond the borders?
Since the initiative is going to an end, December 2025, we are looking for additional funding to scale it up the existing operation, but also to move forward the initiative. We wish to cover in the next phase also remittance let's say, remittance and diaspora investment as a source of climate finance. We wish to dedicate more attention to gender inclusivity because the payments and remittance can also have this role.
A farmer in the county of Kiambu is reaping big from an integrated farming system that combines aquaponics, hydroponics and chicken rearing. The technique allows her to maximize output while saving on water, fertilizer and land. On this week's Smart Farm segment, Dennis Otieno visited Monica Mungai's farm in the county and tells us how the model is helping her do more with less.
On her small piece of land in Kiambu, Monica Mungai is redefining modern farming. By combining aquaponics and hydroponics with poultry keeping, she's producing a wide range of crops with minimal resources.
I practice doing different varieties of crops, that is both leafy green vegetables as well as horticulture crops. So when we talk about leafy green vegetables, we're talking about spinach, kales, cabbage, dania, and when we talk about horticulture crops, we can talk of the fruity crops like hoho, tomato, cucumber. So I'm always open to ideas. I'm necessarily not limited on doing crops. I'm always open based on the market.
Monica says she shifted from traditional soil farming after facing challenges such as diseases, water shortages, and the unpredictability of climate change.
We used to do farming in soil, and then I realized that soil has lots of challenges. For example, soil-borne diseases were also affected by climate change because, of course, if you don't have source of water, you have to wait for the rains to come. And of course, the market is there, supply, people are expecting for you to supply.
Her new approach integrates fish ponds and chicken rearing with hydroponic vegetable production. Each component feeds into the other, creating a sustainable cycle.
So we're doing integrated system whereby my interest is on the vegetables as well as the keeping of fish. And actually, we're integrating the system by putting up chicken. So we have the keeping of fish, vegetables, as well as chicken.
The chickens provide waste that becomes food for the fish. In turn, nutrient-rich water irrigates the vegetables, cutting out the need for chemical fertilizers.
When we talk about these integrated aquaponics, I may say it's a way of sustainable farming because you realize that some of the consumables, once you have the initial setup of the system, some of the consumables will be probably the seedlings when you want probably to transplant. Keeping of fish and chicken, you realize that the poop that comes from the chicken is very nutritious to the fish, so they normally consume it. And then of course the fish water is also very nutritious when it comes to plants because it has some of the minerals that plants need. So you realize that I may not need to have use of fertilizers because already the fish are producing for me the fertilizers.
The system not only guarantees higher yields, but also saves her time and money.
I may say with this technique of farming, I have realized that I'm saving on a lot. Like I said, I'm not needed in my farm on a daily basis because this hydroponic system, you only water once a week. And by the way, my unit, I necessarily don't have to come back after a week because they have automated the system. And with this automation, I don't need to use electricity. I can as well use solar.
With automation and renewable energy, Monica's integrated farm offers a glimpse into the future of sustainable agriculture. It is a model she believes the other smallholder farmers can adopt to secure food and income in the face of climate change. Dennis Otieno, Smart Farm.
President William Ruto has formed a technical committee that will be responsible for the coordination and collaboration between the government, sports federation and corporates in a new initiative to transform sports into multi-billion shillings profitable industry. The first step was the invitation by the head of state of the corporates in a roundtable meeting at State House in Nairobi today, where a plan was put in place to fund and transform the industry. First up in the plan is football, with the intention to support the sport grow in the next few years as the country gears towards hosting the AFCON 2027 tournament. FKF gave a sponsorship plan with numbers that are required across the various leagues. President William Ruto said this will be a collective responsibility between the federation, the corporate sector and the government.
You, my word, that the government, you have your brand manager. We must make it win-win. We are not going to ask anybody here to put in money for nothing. You must get something out of it. You know, if it is not win-win, it is not sustainable. I just wanted to give you my word that the government of Kenya is all in.
And I think that tripartite should take us to the next decade or two, if not a century, of good sports and good football in Kenya.
I'm sure it's going to energize their contribution, but also elevate a symbiotic relationship between the corporate, government, and the federation to ensure that we inspire the talents in our country.
The Confederation of African Women Champions League qualifiers kicks off tomorrow in Nairobi with two matches at the Nyayo National Stadium. The match of the day will pit Kenya Police Bullets against Kampala Queens, a match seen to be the final before the final. Only the winner of the 9-team tournament will qualify for the CECAFA region to play in the CAF Champions League.
We have best venues here. You see Kenya now. They concluded successfully the CHAN, and we have good venue with the Nyayo Stadium, and we'll use also Ulinzi Complex. Means our tournament will take place in good condition.
The government has promised to further revise the reward scheme for athletes who participate in major athletics events in performances meant to improve the outcome. President William Ruto announced the new scheme that has improved the amounts given to all the medalists at the Commonwealth Games.
I want to say thank you for the rewards. Thank you, Tasamai Ruto, all protocol of SAP.
To now invite the chair of Athletics Kenya.
The rule at the moment, and we will have to go by that.
To the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan this evening, the president reaffirmed the gold medalists will pocket 3 million shillings, silver medalists 2 million shillings, and bronze medalists 1 million shillings. The daily allowances have also been improved for all the athletes taking part in the championships. Commonwealth Games winners will now get 2.5 million for gold, 1.5 for silver, and 1 million shillings for bronze.
All protocol of SAP.
Football skating that was non-existent 2 years ago is now gaining popularity, growing from being a Nairobi sport to spread to 12 counties across the country. The success has given birth to the second national tournament that is aimed at popularizing the sport among skaters. Football skating has drawn players from sports like rollball, speed skating, ice hockey and roller hockey that were already established in the country, with the players already good skaters. The latest tournament attracted teams from Nairobi, Kisii, Embu, Kiambu, Nyamira and the universities. The Kenya Football Skating Federation is now registered as a national federation and is required to conform with the Sports Act. They must register county associations in at least 24 counties, one of the reasons that pushed the federation to host the tournament. The team will be selected to play in all the Africa Games in Senegal later this month, ahead of the World Cup in 2026.
It has been something good. I think even the visitors that have been coming here, some of them are people who play football professionally, and they're really excited about the game. They would really wish to join the game. Some of them are skaters that are new to the game.
The Safaricom Chapadimba All-Stars team is set for the international training camp in Spain starting on Saturday. The team of the most outstanding 25 players will head to Huesca for a one-week-long football training camp that promises to elevate their football careers. 32 players were selected for the All-Star squad, with 25 heading to Spain. The others will miss the camp as they have now moved up in their careers, joining professional teams both locally and internationally. During their stay in Spain, the team will test their skills against Huesca's youth academy, learn from professional players through expert-led masterclasses. They will also train at the world-class facilities at Huesca's modern sports city. The players will also attend a second division match between SD Huesca and Malaga CF, alongside cultural experiences such as sightseeing and city tours.
Spain ni one of the big countries in terms of football, na kwenda kucheza huko hivyo najua nitagain experience nzuri, nitalearn a lot of things in football na nita improve.
Kwenda Spain itatusaidia number one, itatusaidia kuboresha mpira Kenya, kwanza kwa vijana. Morali iko juu, hata kwa camp morali iko juu sana, because wanatarajia kwenda, hata wangesema wangeenda leo wangetoka tu leo hii.
I think it's going to be an incredible experience for them. It's part of our commitment to nurturing sport, especially amongst the youth, so that they can monetize those passion points. So us really championing Kenya, and they're going to be, the flag bearers. They're going to be Kenya's flag bearers out there in Spain, and we are very, very proud as Safaricom to have been a part of that.
We are done with the news, the business and sports, and Ruben has been waiting since 9:20 p.m. on the bench tonight. The musician who wants to be your president if you give him the nod, and cuts across different spheres. He is also a journalist, the social activist, the scholar and the Christian teacher. Will be with him on the bench on the vast array of issues happening in the country, starting off on his views on the state of the nation. And Ruben, much appreciated. Always lovely to have you.
Thank you.
And a pleasure.
It's nice to be
having your
back.
company on the bench.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
It feels really nice to be back to Royal Media, because this is where I was given the microphone for the very first time on radio. And so it's a little bit nostalgic, actually.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank the management and, SK for thinking that I could do this, But first things first, you want a song?
Yes, please.
All right. So this one I wrote back in 1992.
1990?
1992. I was a high school teacher at Mary Hill High School. And what's amazing is that I still sing the same thing. What I dreamed about then is what I dream about now.
And I still sing the same way?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I have a dream of a nation of the Lord, where people love to speak the truth and live in peace, where love and justice fall like morning rain, where the word of God is read and practiced everywhere. I have a dream where all children go to school, where the guilty are condemned and the innocent defended, where none will die from biting poverty, and where none lives in loneliness, grief, or pain. I have a dream, dream, dream of a nation of the Lord. How I always want to dream, 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 it will soon be here. I have a dream that it will be so. Every day I wanna dream, dream, dream till I can dream no more. I have a dream that the lion and the lamb could move as one and graze as one through the thorny shrubs. Yes, I know that my dream will come to pass someday when the Lord descends, fill the world with glory and peace. I have a dream, dream, dream of a nation of the Lord. How I always want to dream, 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 it will soon be here. I have a dream that it will be so. Every day I wanna dream, dream, dream till I can dream no more. Every day I wanna dream, dream, dream till I can dream no more.
Brilliant, Ruben.
Thank you.
This was back in 1992.
Yes.
And that was at the height of multipartyism.
Yes, and you can see how that influenced me. And there was not just the multi-party democracy clamoring for the repealing of Section 2A at that time. And by the way, I would come from Maryhill and attend the Kamkunji rallies, listen to Shikuku Matiba, the Gitobu Imanyara, these guys that were championing multi-party democracy. But that was also a momentous time because a lot was happening in Eastern Europe. You know, the then known Soviet Union was falling apart. And up next door in Somalia, a very, very sad situation was happening because Siad Barre was ousted and there was a lot of pain. In fact, I do remember, maybe this is one of the times I really wrote a lot of social justice songs because the memory of it was, I think it was a BBC report that said there were some women, you know, fleeing, I mean, refugees fleeing, and there was a woman that gave birth on a boat, you know? And so if you go to my channel, I have this song that that's called Who Will Help the Refugees. And that second verse says, sailing to safety, a mother gives birth to a baby boy. There is no doctor or midwife to help her, she bleeds and dies. In camps they wait for hope tomorrow, in the midst of misery and disease. Who will help the refugees? Who will help the refugees? Who will take some time to pray for peace? Who will give his life away or give a place for them to stay? Who will help the refugees? Give some food and don't let them to freeze. Who will help the refugees? So these were things that were very close to my heart. And I wrote about just about everything, including what was going on in Kenya at that time. I remember when Trade Bank, you know, closed its doors. One of my friends was working with a bank. He comes and tells me, I saw people crying because they lost everything in terms of investments. So these are the things that gripped my heart very, very early. So I'm not coming into the dialogue tonight almost like, oh, he wants to run for president, so he's here to talk about these things. I've written so many songs about social justice, and my doctoral dissertation is actually about music and social justice, because every major change in the world has been driven by music.
Thank you.
Whether you talk about civil rights movement, whether you talk about even Hitler, he used music. Even the Arab Spring.
Yeah.
It was a young Egyptian goes on a Cairo street, picks his guitar, and sings the Arab Spring into motion. You know, Thomas Mafumo in Zimbabwe, Miriam Makeba in South Africa, Bob Marley in Jamaica, Fela Kuti in Nigeria. All these people, and back here, you know, you have Eric Wainaina, you have
Robin Kigame.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but so my study includes Giuliani, whose song I teased you with before.
And we'll finish up with that.
And I got his permission to be able to sing that chorus. If you've seen my posters and brands, it's basically a guitar. I want to be Kenya's next singing president.
Okay, yes, we'll talk about that.
Sure.
And of course, you transcend a lot of other fields as well, including academia, and why then you want to be the president. And
yes, I teach part-time.
So let's take the break and come and talk about that in extension here on the broadcast.
Thank you.
Robin Kigame, who wants to be your president in 2027, is on the bench tonight. And he wants to sing all the way into State House in 2027. That's if you accord him the mandate, you, the voter. And that discussion will be here on the bench after the break. Stay tuned. On the bench tonight, one-on-one with Robin Kigame on his presidential ambitions.
Imperial